Good afternoon, folks. My name is Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you, and will determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause merely means it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me this afternoon, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the State Attorney's Office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release today, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've got a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there will be any additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this afternoon. You have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. And I need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. Y'all solemnly swear affirm, tell truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Outstanding. When I call your name, please step forward to the podium. Mike, you have a list for me? Christopher Nazario.
How you doing, Judge?
Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
August 27th, 92.
Christopher, I got two charges today. I've got a battery being domestic in nature and a simple battery. As to those charges, there is probable cause. You wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I would like a public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
Your Honor, he's currently in a diversion program for 2 different charges. And other than that, no other history, Your Honor.
All right. And Christopher, I have an address here on Wellington Road in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
All my life.
All right. Do you have a job these days?
Not on the books, sir, no.
Okay. And you live in the same house with your brother?
Yes, sir, I do, and my mother.
Okay. All right. Set your bond at $500 on each count. That's a total of $1,000. Condition of those bonds, however, is that you'll have no contact with your brother Michael or with Gene Collins. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. Don't contact them through any social media. Don't have a third person contact them. Don't go where they live. Don't go where they work. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting them, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and I find out about it, your bond will be revoked and you'll be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if either of them want to have contact with you. So if you answer your phone and hear either of their voices, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see either of them, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that neither of them can drop the charges against you. That's not a decision they're allowed to make. They may go to the state attorney's office and request that the charges be dropped. Might tell them that this was all a big misunderstanding and they don't want to proceed. But unless you hear that from the assistant state attorney or from the judge on your case or from your lawyer, you should assume that the charges are not dropped and you should not have contact. In addition, I have to hold you today up until 4 p.m. so that if your brother wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact because in that case, not only would your bond here be revoked, but you would get new charges for violating the injunction. As far as that address on Wellington Road goes, as long as your brother stays there, you'll have to find somewhere else to stay until these charges are resolved. You may go by one time to collect your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you plan to stay, but to do that, you must contact the sheriff's office first. They'd meet you there with a deputy who will stand by while you grab your things and get going where you're going. I'm going to have you back in court on July 12th. Very important that you contact the public defender's office if you get out, okay?
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That's fair. Thank you.
You bet. Chantel Coaxum. Morning, Chantel. What's your date of birth?
12/6/73.
Chantel, you're here on a warrant that I signed. Apparently, you failed to appear in my court in April on a charge of driving on a suspended license. Mr. Larison, is this something she can resolve today?
1 day time served, Your Honor.
All right, Chantel, if you want to enter a no contest plea, I would adjudicate you guilty of the charge, sentence you to 1 day in the jail, which you've already done. This case would be over. Is that something you'd like to do today?
Yes, sir.
Very good. You understand by entering a plea, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent, the right to have a lawyer represent you, but you want to give up those rights so that we may resolve this today?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Case number 19CT1140. As to the charge that you drove knowing your license had been suspended or revoked, how do you wish to plead? You may plead no contest. Want to plead no contest?
No contest.
I'll accept that plea, find it was freely and voluntarily made, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 1 day in the county jail, credit 1 day served. Finding court cost is $488, $50 for the day in jail, but that takes care of it, Chantel. If there's nothing else keeping you in jail, you will be released today, okay?
All right, thank
All
you.
right, good luck. Christopher Bishop. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
9/5/71.
Christopher, I have 2 charges today. 1 count of child abuse, 1 count of battery, being simple battery. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Private counsel.
Very good. State what you tell me.
No prior history, Your Honor.
All right. And Christopher, I have an address for you on Townsend Boulevard in Istachata. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
20 years.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a wastewater plant operator.
Okay. Who do you do that for?
Hernando County Utilities.
Okay. All right. On the child abuse charge, I'm going to set the bond at $100. On the battery at $500. So that's a total of $600. As far as Mr. Ferraro is concerned, you're going to have no contact with him. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes, sir. I understand.
Okay. And then as far as your grandson is concerned, I will only limit the contact to the extent that this event results in the Department of Children and Families being involved in your life. If they are, for some reason or some length of time, then they get to determine what sort of contact you and your grandson will have. If they are not involved in your life, I'm not going to order that you not have contact with your grandson, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. And are you aware it was DCF called, or do you even know?
No, sir. I don't know yet.
Okay. Well, if you get out and you find out they're involved, then you just need to cooperate with them, do whatever they do, and they get to decide about contact. If you get out and find out they haven't been called, then don't worry about contact with your grandson, all right?
Okay.
Very good. And let's see. I'll have you back in court on the 19th of July. Very important that you contact your lawyer and tell them about that date, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. John Boucher. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
8/17/1987.
Sir, the charge this afternoon is battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point the PD stating what can you tell me?
No prior convictions, Your Honor.
All right. And is that Ms. Giddens here?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Giddens, did you want to speak to the court, or are you just here to see what happens?
It's just someone that wants to observe.
She just want to observe. That's fine. Okay. And John, I have an address for you on Round Lake Drive in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
2 months.
Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
AC.
Set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you'll have no contact with Ms. Giddens. Did you hear me explain no contact?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Very good. In addition, I will hold you till 4 o'clock, so if she decides she wants to get a civil injunction against you, we'll know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, like I said, doubly important that you not have contact, because then you can wind up with another charge. I'll have you back in court on the 12th of July. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Miguel Torres?
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, Mr. Torres. What's your date of birth?
10/21/1978.
Miguel, the charge is driving on a suspended license. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, sir.
I'll appoint the PD state.
Yes, Your Honor, an adjudication for paraphernalia in 2011. A lewd and lascivious adjudication in 2006 that was out of Pasco County. And a 97 burglary adjudication appealed back in 97 in Kissimmee. No other history, Your Honor.
And Miguel, I have an address for you on Briarwood Drive in Newport Richey. Is that where you live?
No, sir. I live in 1418 Edgemere Drive in Springfield.
All right. How long have you been there?
About 8 years.
Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir, I do.
What do you do?
I do concrete, sir.
I'll leave the bond per the schedule, which is the $2,000. Unfortunately, because of your status, I also have to order that if you do bond out, you'll be subject to GPS monitoring at your expense. I'll have you back in court on the 19th of July. Very important that you contact the public defender's office if you get out. If you can't get out, they'll come see you at the jail, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Roberto Frias? Afternoon, Roberto. What's your date of birth?
07/05/98.
Roberto, I have 2 charges, possession of marijuana and carrying a concealed weapon. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself, you're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
A no valid DL adjudication in 17 out of Hernando County. An adjudication in 16 for possession of paraphernalia out of Hernando County. Possession of marijuana less than 20, Your Honor. A robbery with deadly weapon adjudication in 2015. A sexual battery victim, PTI 2013, that was also out of Hernando County. And no other history, Your Honor.
And Roberto, I have an address for you on Pond Circle in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
8 to 10 years.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I work at Checkers fast food.
I'll leave the bonds per the schedule. It says $1,000 on each count, a total of 2. I'll have you back in court on the 12th of June. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, all right?
On the 12th of June or July, sir?
July. Nice catch, Roberto.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Benjamin Gavitt?
Afternoon,
Good
Judge.
afternoon, Benjamin. What's your date of birth?
10/11/1986.
And I've got driving on a suspended license, driving under the influence, and refusal to submit. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
Adjudication in 16 for a willless as well as a DUI where he had a state prison sentence imposed in 2016. Adjudication for paraphernalia as well in that 2016 case, and an actual constructive possession of a synthetic. A resisting an officer without violence adjudication in 2015, where a short county jail sentence was imposed, as well as a DUI adjudication of guilt in 2015 that was out of Hernando County. Adjudication in 14 for dealing traffic, stolen property, and that was a state prison sentence as well. Adjudication withheld in 2010 for kidnapped false imprisonment. Adjudication withheld in 10 for domestic battery. And a resist law enforcement officer without violence in 2008, adjudication of guilt, where a county jail sentence was imposed in Hernando County, and a battery in 2008, adjudication of guilt in Hernando County, Your Honor.
All right. And Ben, I have an address for you on Elgin Boulevard in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
About 8 years now.
You got a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What are you doing?
Hedgehogs Landscaping.
All right. We're going to leave the bonds for the schedule, which is $1,000 on the two misdemeanors and $5,000 on the DUI. That's a total of $7,000. Have you back in court on the 19th of July. Very important that you contact the PD if you get out, all right?
Okay, sir. What was that on the DUI? Said failure to submit.
Yeah, they charge you with refusing to submit to a test of your breath, blood, or urine.
Okay.
Based on the way that went down and based on the fact that apparently there was a refusal sometime in your past.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Austin Reinsman. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
September 12, 2000.
So you're here in a violation of probable cause arrest for violation of probation. There is PC for the violation of probation. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, sir.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond, of course, is going to be no bond. I'm going to change the date they gave you to July 9th at 9 a.m. So you'll be without bond.
Your Honor, I apologize. I spoke to Ms. Daly. We were going to request June 24th.
June 24th.
Quick turnaround.
All right. They want June 24th. All right.
And that's at 1:15, I believe.
So it'll be June 24th at 1:15, all right?
Yes, sir.
PD will come see you before then.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Jeffrey Smith.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Jeffrey. What's your date of birth?
09/14/84.
Jeffrey, the charge is retail theft. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself? Going to hire a
Yes,
private
sir.
counsel, or would you like the public defender?
I'll represent myself.
All right. State.
I'm showing an adjudication for tampering with a witness and or victim in 2010 out of Marion County, where a jail sentence was imposed, as well as an assault or battery on person 65 years of age or classification of offenses. Adjudication in 2010, where a state prison sentence was imposed, and that was also out of Marion County, Your Honor. A DUI adjudication in 2009 out of Marion County. A driving license suspended. A 2003 adjudication out of Citrus County. Adjudication in 2003 for possession of alcohol under, and adjudication in 2003 for paraphernalia and a possession of marijuana. No other history, Your Honor.
Jeffrey, I have an address for you on Northeast 35th Street in Silver Spring. Is that where you live?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. How long have you been there?
About 8 months.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Yeah, handyman service. I work for Do It All Johnny.
Okay. All right. We'll leave your bond at the $500. I'll have you back in court on the 12th of July, all right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh.
James Toothman. Afternoon, sir. What's the date of birth?
7/22/71.
Sir, the charge is driving under the influence. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, You want to represent yourself? You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point the PD, Steve.
I'm showing that he's a multi-source offender. I'm showing a sexual assault in 95 with no disposition, and 07 DUI. That's also out of state. A 2009 driving with license suspended. And then some older other states, he has some reckless endangerment, and but those are older in the 90s, Your Honor.
Okay.
No other history.
All right. And so I have an address for you on Powell Road here. Is that where you live?
It's Olier Road.
Okay. And okay, that's the 22132.
22133 Olier.
133. Okay. How long have you been there?
3 years, roughly.
Do you have a job these days?
No, sir.
How long
Fighting
is-
disability still.
Oh, okay. I'll set your bond at $1,000. I'm going to have you back in court on the 7th of July, it says. If you get out, make sure you contact the PD right away, okay?
Is there no possible way I can get ROR?
I cut it in half. That's the best I'm going to do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. 7 9, I think. July 9th. Okay. It says 7th of July. Yep. But it's a misdemeanor.
Then your name is Sam Clark.
Okay. Mr. Toothman should be July 12th.